half-century has passed since the Jabidah massacre that has triggered armed struggle in Mindanao. Yet the memory still lives on the minds and hearts of Bangsamoro people as they continue to fight for autonomy. The ARMM government and civil society commemorate the 50th anniversary of the massacre of Bangsamoro men who were recruited by the Philippine government to create havoc in Sabah, Malaysia, but ended up getting killed by their military trainers in 1968. Despite government attempts to cover up the injustice, the Bangsamoro people continue to stand by their fallen men 5 decades after. 23-year-old Abdurrahman Idris's grandfather was among the Bangsamoro men recruited in 1968 who, unlike tens or hundreds of men, fortunately came out of the training program alive. He was not part of the group mercilessly killed by soldiers. Yet the 23-year-old could not help but shed tears the first time he came to the island, where the lives of young Moros were snuffed out after being promised a good life in Manila.
Before we came here, we had our tour and excitement filled our cups until we came to the Army Post Hospital. When I knew it was the same place where the young Moros stayed, it felt like I was on an adventure. So I walked alone. The place was dark, but the moment was very clear. As I glanced to the old damaged walls and I saw the markings, my fellow Bangsamoro, know that the informations, the names, the messages were not only written on the walls, but in our hearts, in our minds, and in our memory.
ARMM Governor Mujib Hataman recalls the stories of the lone survivor, the late Jibin Arula, who recounted how they were asked to line up in this runway while waiting for the supposed plane to Manila. In the end, military men gunned them down in cold blood. Arula escaped by jumping from this cliff and swimming until he reached Cavite. The bitter tragedy fanned the flames of rebellion among the Moro people with the repeated denials of the Marcos government. Fighting Marcos propaganda that the Jabidah massacre never happened was an uphill battle.
At ang ibig sabihin nito, ang panloloko, ang pagdurusa, at ang katotohanang kailangan pa nating ipaglaban na kilalanin ang panloloko at pagdurusang ito.
50 years ago, the massacre sparked the armed struggle in the South with the establishment of the Moro National Liberation Front and other succeeding groups. 50 years after, there are now renewed discussions on the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law, which the people see as a step in addressing these historical injustices.
And so therefore, it was very, very timely that we have this Bangsamoro Basic Law, and I hope and pray that this will be passed, but we also need that we rectify historical injustice. That's why you have the Transitional Commission, Judicial Commission.
Martyrs do not die, they multiply. So pass the BBL. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
The BBL is in the period of debates in the Senate and remains at the committee level in the House of Representatives. There's a near certainty that BBL will be passed into law, but whether or not it adheres to the Bangsamoro Transition Commission's version remains to be seen. Until then, the Bangsamoro people would continue waiting and hoping. Camila Lemia, Rappler, Corregidor.